A heartwarming revelation, Millionaire finally discovers true love with a struggling cleaner. Ethan sat alone in his grand, glass-walled mansion, surrounded by the shimmering facade of success. He had it all, wealth, luxury cars, and a flourishing company, but behind the gleaming exterior lay an aching void. The emptiness gnawed at him, whispering every night as he shuffled through hallways echoing with silence. Tonight was meant to be a high-society gala, a parade of suits and silk dresses. But as he slid into his sleek luxury car, his heart felt heavier than ever. Little did he know, fate had other plans. Maria, a determined single mother, polished the floors of yet another massive mansion. To the world, her job was unseen drudgery, but she weariedly embraced it to provide for her beloved 8-year-old daughter, Sophia. The whispers of society's scorn often shadowed her footsteps, yet she walked with resilience. Tonight was just another shift at the grand gala. Dressed in worn-out jeans and a faded t-shirt, she entered the hall, unaware that her life was about to change. As Ethan wandered through the opulent space, his heartache was interrupted by the unexpected sight of Maria dusting off a stunning chandelier. The sight of her tenderly caring for something so beautiful tugged at him. "That thing's not gonna clean itself, huh?" he joked, breaking the icy atmosphere. Her surprised smile was like a burst of sunlight piercing through his gloomy world. Banter flowed between them, easy and light. With every exchanged laugh, Ethan felt the shadows lifting, revealing a desire he didn't know he had, a longing for real connection. Maria regarded him with bright eyes, full of determination, offering glimpses into her life of challenges and dreams. Her stories jolted Ethan awake, each word breaking the numbness that had dulled his senses for years. It felt thrilling and dangerous all at once. Yet, reality burst the delicate bubble they both carried, burdens heavier than hearts. Ethan's family, with their meticulous plans for his future, a poised heiress, elegant dinners, and a legacy loomed behind him like gnarled roots holding him down. And Maria, whose life was tainted by the whispers of disapproval from her peers, recognized the barriers that would try to tear them apart. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the gala ended, excitement shifted to dismay. An engagement party brewed in Ethan's honor, arranged without his consent. And Maria, left in the shadows, was uninvited. The hurt knotted tightly in her chest, pouring salt into deep-seated wounds. She focused solely on Sophia, but the ember of connection with Ethan wouldn't extinguish. Each night, as she tucked her daughter in, dreams of what could have been played endlessly in her mind. Meanwhile, Ethan wrestled with the weight of expectations clamping his heart. The deeper he felt for Maria, the more tangled he became. Their worlds seemed galaxies apart, yet the emotional gravity between them pulsed stronger than the familial demands. In a serendipitous twist, Ethan bumped into Sophia struggling with her school project and knew he had to take a leap that could alter not only his life but also Maria's. As he stood on her doorstep, anticipation wafted in the air like the scent of the rain before a storm. His heart pounded. Would this be the moment he chose to break free from his gilded cage, or would he retreat, shackled by expectations? In that crucial moment, everything hung in the balance. Ethan stood at Maria's door, heart racing, uncertainty swirling in his mind. The warm glow from the living room filled the porch, casting flickering shadows that danced across his anxious features. His thoughts raced. Could he truly step outside the constraints of his world? The laughter of a child spilled from within, and he found his courage at that moment. Sucking in a sharp breath, he knocked. Maria opened the door, surprise flickering in her eyes. She looked so natural, so at home in her cozy space. Her smile faded slightly when she noticed the nerves etched on his face. "Ethan? What are you doing here?" He stammered. I met Sophia at school. She said she needed help with her project." He hesitated, glancing down, then back up into her eyes. can I come in? Her expression softened, an unexpected warmth blooming. Of course, she replied, stepping aside. He entered, feeling like he had crossed a line, stepping into a world where he didn't belong but desperately wished to. Sophia, a petite whirlwind of energy, rushed into the room holding a poster covered in colorful drawings. Look, Mr. Ethan. I need to finish this for school tomorrow. The child's excitement radiated, pulling Ethan into the moment. Wow, this looks amazing. What's your favorite part? Ethan knelt down, his fears dissipating under the bright splash of her creativity. Sophia pointed enthusiastically at a doodled sun. The sun, because it makes everything bright. Ethan chuckled, a genuine smile breaking through. In that moment, the realities of their lives took a back seat. They spent the next hour working together, laughter and playful chatter filled the small room, and with every passing minute, Ethan felt the shackles of his past loosen, but as the laughter faded and reality crept back in, a knot twisted in Ethan's stomach. This wasn't just about helping a child. Maria stood watching, arms crossed, an unreadable expression on her face. Thank you for coming, Ethan. But we both know how things are. Her voice cracked slightly, and the simmering connection sparked with uncertainty. Ethan swallowed hard. I can't just walk away from you both. I don't want to. This means something to me. Ethan, I'm nobody in your world, she said, frustration mingling with hurt. I'm just a cleaner. I can't be part of that life you're expected to live. A fierce determination surged within him. But who said that? You think just because you're a cleaner, you don't matter? His voice intensified, the truth breaking through. You matter. To me. Maria's eyes flashed with emotion, vulnerability laid bare. It's not that simple. You're engaged. You're family. What do you want from me? Everything, he breathed, feeling the tension shift in the air. I want a chance to fight for what really matters. For us. Silence hung thick between them, emotions intertwined, raw and unveiled. Ethan stepped closer, feeling the magnetic pull between them. Please, let me take you and Sophia out for dinner tomorrow. Just the three of us. I want to show you there could be something more. Maria hesitated, her gaze unwavering. What if your world comes crashing down? Then let it crash. Please, give me a chance, he said, his heart full of hope. She bit her lip, considering, the future filled with both promise and peril. I don't know, Ethan. The door stood open, an invitation and a challenge. The sun began to set behind them, casting a soft glow that shadowed neither hope nor despair. The weight of their choice lingered in the air, warm with possibility. What would she decide? Would she take that leap with him into the unknown or retreat into the comfort of the world she knew, leaving their shared heartbeats in the balance? The next morning, Ethan awoke with a jolt. Sunlight streamed through his window, illuminating the room but failing to warm the chill in his bones. Today was everything. He was both anxious and excited, the potential for love coursing through him like an electric current. In a world where everything felt predetermined for him, the thought of taking Sophia and Maria out for dinner felt like a rebellion, a beautiful one. He paced his room, thoughts tumbling like marbles. What would he say to Maria? Would she really join him, or would she retreat back to her safe corner of the world? The potential answers danced in his mind, each one more daunting than the last. At breakfast, his fiancée Anna was chatting about details for their engagement party. As she spoke, Ethan struggled to focus, the words fading into a background hum. He nodded politely, but his mind was elsewhere, about Maria's hopeful eyes, the way Sophia's laughter echoed in his heart. He thought of the warmth and joy of last night, wishing it could seep into this stifling morning. Ethan. Anna's voice broke through his reverie, her brow furrowed with concern. Did you hear what I said? Yeah. It sounds great. He managed a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. A hollow feeling pooled in his stomach. Nothing should feel so complicated, he thought, but it did. After breakfast, he drove to Maria's apartment. Anxiety gnawed at him as he waited for her to answer the door. A part of him wished to turn around, to go back to the safety of his old life where this uncertainty didn't exist. But that wasn't who he wanted to be anymore. He wanted to fight for something real. When she opened the door, his heart raced. Maria stood there, a hint of surprise flickering in her eyes. She was lovely, hair pulled into a messy bun, a faded t-shirt and jeans contrasted with the radiant warmth in her smile. "Hi," he said, a little breathless. "I wanted to see if you would join Sophia and me for dinner tonight." She hesitated, her gaze flickering with doubt. "I don't want to be a burden." "You have a life, Ethan. A future." "No, it's not like that," he insisted, stepping closer. "I want to share that life with you. Please, let me show you I mean it." Maria studied him, her eyes searching for truth. "What if it all falls apart? Our lives are different. And what about Anna?" He felt himself tense at the sound of her name. "I can't think about that right now. All I know is that I feel something real with you. Isn't that worth exploring?" "Ethan," she trailed off, emotion thick in her throat. He took a deep breath, the weight of his words settling heavily around them. "What scares me the most is not knowing what we could have. If we don't try, we'll never know." Finally, she sighed, the tension in her shoulders easing, though uncertainty still danced in her gaze. "Just dinner, okay? I can't promise anything more." "That's all I'm asking for," he replied, feeling a surge of hope coursing through him. Her agreement felt like a tiny victory, but in the back of his mind, questions lingered. How would they handle the scrutiny of his world? As they moved to the car, Sophia came barreling out, her face lighting up when she saw Ethan. "Mr. Ethan. Are we going to eat tacos?" Ethan chuckled, glancing at Maria, who couldn't hide her smile. At that moment, the weight of the world felt manageable. For the first time in a long time, hope threaded its way through the crevices of his heart. The trio set off, laughter echoing in the air, but a knot of anxiety lingered in Ethan's chest. What awaited them on this journey? And what would happen when their two worlds collided? As they arrived at the restaurant, the reality of his choice started to settle in. Could love truly bloom in the shadows of societal expectations? The restaurant buzzed with life, laughter spilling from tables and the scent of fresh tacos wafting in the air. Ethan felt a mix of excitement and nerves as he watched Sophia run ahead, her small body darting toward a colorful mural on the restaurant wall. It was a vibrant splash of blues and yellows, depicting a fiesta that seemed to dance with her every step. Maria lingered beside Ethan, her smile softening the edges of his anxiety. "This place is cute," she said, her voice warm against the backdrop of noise. He turned to her, thankful for the momentary reprieve from his swirling thoughts. The tightness in his chest loosened, if only a little. "Yeah, Sophia loves it here," he replied, following her gaze. She noticed the kid's excitement and couldn't help but chuckle, the sound drawing Ethan's attention back to her. "Being a father suits you," Maria stated, a hint of admiration sparkling in her eyes. That simple observation sent a rush of warmth through Ethan, deepening the bond they were rediscovering. They settled at a cozy table with vibrant red chairs. Sophia was practically bouncing in her seat. "Can we order everything? Can we? She pleaded, her eyes wide. Ethan laughed, unable to refuse her enthusiasm. "Sure, kiddo. Let us make it a feast." As they perused the menu, laughter bubbled between him and Maria, widening the gap that once separated them. They traded jokes and small barbs, reliving memories of their childhoods, unearthing a shared rhythm that had always been there beneath the surface. But then, as the food arrived, a sudden silence engulfed their table with the weight of unsaid words. Ethan glanced at Maria, whose expression had shifted to something serious. "Ethan," she began hesitantly, "what happens when the fun ends?" The laughter around them felt inadequate, a barrier that could not breach the raw honesty in her eyes. Ethan's heart sank at the mention of what lay ahead, the reality of the lives they led outside this moment. "I guess," he said slowly, weighing each word, "we deal with it together." If we're going to do this, we have to be willing to face whatever comes. And Anna? Maria's voice quivered with apprehension that he swallowed hard, a lump forming in his throat. I have to figure that out. But I can't ignore what I feel for you, Maria. It's so different, so real. Their shared gaze lingered, charged with the weight of possibilities. In that silence, Sophia interjected, gleefully holding up her taco, blissfully unaware of the tension. Can we make a toast? Of course. Ethan replied, grateful for the shift back to something lighter. What do we toast to? Sophia pressed her lips together in thought, putting her little hands together. To fun and food. And to everyone being happy. Ethan and Maria exchanged glances, a ripple of shared affection flowing between them. They raised their glasses in unison, joined by Sophia's bright spirit. It felt like a celebration not just of the evening but of the choices yet to unfold. As they continued to share stories and laughter, the tension ebbed away, reminding Ethan of the warmth they could create together. Yet, with every smile exchanged between him and Maria, he felt the tightening grip of reality. Something was coming. The dessert arrived, a towering slice of tres leches cake, drizzled with sweet cream that glistened in the dim light. In that moment, as they took a collective bite, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. Outside the window, night descended, casting shadows that crept closer to their table. What awaited them as the evening wore on? Did hope truly stand a chance when faced with the hard truths of life? Just as he was about to speak, the restaurant's door swung open, and a figure stepped inside. Ethan's heart lurched. Was it someone from his life, and what storm would they bring with them? Ethan's breath caught in his throat as he turned to see who had entered. The soft jingle of the door announced an unexpected guest. His heart raced, and he felt time slowing as anticipation coiled in his chest. Maria's brow furrowed in confusion. Do you know them? She asked, her voice a whisper that he nodded, unable to take his eyes off the figure. It was Anna, his estranged wife. Her hair, usually neat, was a wild tangle, and her expression was laced with uncertainty. She scanned the restaurant as if searching for someone, and for a brief moment, their eyes locked. Sophia's small voice broke into the moment, pulling him back. She looked from him to Maria and then to Anna, her brow knit together in concern. Who is that? Just someone from my past, he managed to say, forcing a smile that felt foreign on his face. The moment stretched like rubber, tugging painfully at his heartstrings. He wanted to ignore it all, to lean into the warmth of the evening, to keep Sophia laughing and carefree. But there was a heaviness looming now, darker than the encroaching night. Anna approached, hesitantly stepping closer. Ethan's mind spun. What was she doing here? They had spent months drifting apart, conversations fading into silence over their unresolved issues. The air felt thick like a brewing storm, ready to unleash a deluge of emotion. Ethan, Anna said finally, her voice trembling as she reached their table. I didn't know where else to go. Anna, he breathed, rising to meet her as if pulled by an invisible string. What are you doing here? She glanced at Sophia, who was peering curiously, and then Maria, her expression shifting to mild confusion. I need to talk. Can we go outside? Ethan hesitated, the weight of Maria's gaze pressing into him. But before he could answer, Sophia plopped down her half-eaten taco and stood up. I can't wait. I need to go to the bathroom. Can I go by myself? No. Maria exclaimed, glancing between Sophia and Ethan. I'll take her. Stay with her, Ethan said quickly. I'll be right back. Maria's eyes held a questioning look, but she nodded, leading Sophia away. The two of them disappeared into the restaurant's interior, leaving Ethan and Anna in an awkward silence that felt heavy. Is it really you? Anna's voice was soft, barely more than a whisper. I thought I lost you for good. Ethan's heart thumped louder in his chest. You didn't lose me, Anna. But things aren't easy between us. I know, she replied, her voice cracking. I've been thinking maybe we need to confront things, together. The words hung between them like a fragile thread. Ethan didn't know if he was ready for this conversation. He felt disoriented, part of him longed to reach out and hold on to this familiar figure. Another part felt the pull of something new, something emerging hope with Maria. "What are you saying?" he asked, his voice steadier than he felt. "I've made mistakes," Anna confessed, tears brimming in her eyes. "But I want to try again. Can we talk about what went wrong? Maybe we can find a way back." Ethan's mind raced. He thought of Sophia's laughing face, of Maria's warmth quietly flickering beside him like a flame. He felt the enormity of what was at stake, the choices cascading in front of him like falling leaves. Could his past life pull him back in? And what about the connection he had begun to stir with Maria? Just as he opened his mouth to respond, the restaurant door swung open again, this time with a gust of wind that swept through, drawing both their gazes. A man entered, and Ethan felt his stomach drop. He recognized him. The man exuded confidence, wearing an expensive suit, and Ethan knew he was trouble. "Ah, there you are," the newcomer said, his voice smooth, and Ethan wondered what kind of storm he would bring with him. "Ethan?" Anna's voice drew him back to her, weighed with worry. "Who is that?" Ethan felt the pressure building, choices looming like shadows. The night was far from over, and everything was about to change. Ethan's heartbeat quickened as he turned to face the man, a wash of dread flooding over him. He wanted to ignore the intruder, to concentrate on Anna and the emotions that tangled in the air between them. But as the man strode forward, dressed to the nines and exuding an air of superiority, Ethan felt the weight of inevitability. "Ethan, old buddy," the man said, his grin too wide, too knowing. "I didn't expect to find you mingling with friends." His gaze flicked dismissively toward Anna, a fleeting smirk crossing his lips. "Derek," Ethan muttered, his teeth clenched. He had known Derek for years, had seen how he could charm people into trusting him, only to turn around and use that trust to his advantage. A sinking feeling settled in his stomach. If he was here, it meant trouble. "Mind if I join you?" Derek asked, casually pulling up a chair without waiting for an answer. The smoothness of his actions grated on Ethan. "Actually, we were just having a private conversation," Anna interjected, her tone firm but faltering under the pressure of the moment. "Private?" Derek chuckled, leaning back and crossing his arms. "In a place like this? Come on, let us lighten the mood." Ethan felt a rush of disgust. He didn't want Derek around, he needed to concentrate on what Anna was saying and what her return meant. "This isn't your scene, Derek. Why don't you leave?" But Derek waved a dismissive hand, his attention darting between Anna and Ethan, relishing the tension. "Oh, it's very much my scene now. I've got big plans, Ethan. You should hear them." Ethan felt frustration rising. "This isn't the time, Derek." "Oh, but it is." Derek leaned forward, his eyes narrowing with intent. "I know what's happening here. The two of you. You think this is going to solve everything for you, Anna? Think again." He turned back to Ethan, a predatory gleam in his eye. "You think you can just walk away from everything you had? Stop." Anna's voice was quiet but powerful, cutting through the clamor in Ethan's mind. "What? You think it's that simple?" Derek laughed, though the laugh held no joy, only malice. "Ethan was a different man before. You're dreaming if you think he'll just leap into your arms. You think you're here to fix him?" Ethan's fists clenched, rage boiling beneath the surface. He wanted to scream, to shove this man out of his life for good. But Anna's gaze caught him, the uncertainty and hurt swirling in her eyes. "Ethan," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "please don't let him get to you. Let us just talk." For a moment, the room spun around him. The familiar pull of their past battled with the new warmth he felt with Maria. He saw Maria's smile, her laughter that had become an anchor for him. In an instant, the realization struck him he was standing at a crossroads with paths diverging wildly. "Derek, it's time for you to go," he said, finally standing tall. The anger smoldering in his chest transformed into resolve. Derek raised an eyebrow, feigning innocence. "And why should I listen to you?" "Because I'm done living in the past. I owe it to myself, to Anna, and to Sophia to confront the future with honesty." Anna's expression flickered with hope which made Ethan's resolve swell. It felt like a step toward clarity, away from the confusion surrounding him. "But do you even know what that future looks like?" Derek pressed, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "Maybe not yet," Ethan replied, locking eyes with Anna. "But if I don't start figuring it out now, I'll never know, will I?" As Derek's mouth moved to retort, the door swung open again, heralding a sharp gust of wind and light. Maria stepped back into the room, her eyes scanning the anxiously assembled tension at the table. "Ethan?" she asked, concern etched across her features. In that moment, everything seemed to hinge on his next words. Before he could respond, Derek leaned in, whispering just loud enough for Ethan to hear, "You really think she'll wait around while you play family with Anna? Think again." With the stakes escalating, Ethan realized he was standing on the brink of something significant. Would Maria still be there if he reached for the future, or would the remnants of his past snuff out the spark he had begun to cherish? The uncertainty lingered in the air like a thick fog, leaving Ethan with just one burning question. What would he choose? Ethan felt his heart pounding in his chest like a drum, drowning out the noise of the bustling cafe around him. Maria's presence seemed to illuminate the dark corner where he had stood, frozen in a moment that felt impossibly heavy. "Ethan?" Maria's voice broke through the tension, and for a brief second, he felt the kind of clarity that had eluded him just moments before. He could see the concern in her eyes, the way her brow furrowed and her lips pressed together in a thin line. She looked between him and Derek, sensing the weight of the unspoken words hanging in the air. "What is going on?" "Nothing, Maria, just a conversation," Ethan started, but even he could hear the uncertainty in his voice. How could he paint this as just casual chatter when Derek was lacing every word with poison? "Is that what you call it?" Derek chimed in, his smirk widening. "A friendly chat in the midst of such chaos?" "Derek, this isn't your business." "You need to leave," Ethan repeated, his voice gaining strength. He wanted to shield Maria from the darkness that Derek represented, but he felt the tug of his own past weighing him down. "Well, aren't we just the brave knight?" Derek scoffed, shrugging nonchalantly. "But let's face it, you're just delaying the inevitable." Ethan clenched his fists, the impatience bubbling over. "I said, go." The command echoed louder than he intended, causing heads to turn, eyes to flicker in curiosity. But Derek, undeterred, leaned in closer. "You have no idea what I know, Ethan. If she's willing to dive into your mess, it might not end well for her, or for Sophia." The name hit Ethan like a punch to the gut. The little girl who had been the center of everything was suddenly a weapon in Derek's hand. He felt the walls closing in, anger and fear battling inside him. To avoid hurting Maria, he needed to stand firm against Derek. With a deep breath, Ethan straightened his back and faced Maria, whose eyes were wide with confusion. I've been stuck between two worlds," he admitted, his voice softer now, weighted with vulnerability. "But you're my light." At his words, Maria's expression shifted, a flicker of understanding dawning on her. "Ethan, it's okay. You don't have to figure everything out right now. I just want you to be honest with me." Derek rolled his eyes, his smirk vanishing. "This is rich. You think talking will solve anything? News flash, life isn't that easy." He stepped back, visibly irritated. "But fine, enjoy your little heart-to-heart. Just remember, I'll always be there to remind you of who you really are." Ethan felt a wild surge of emotions, the heaviness of the past, the sharp pain of loss, and the hope he dared to reach for. Maria was right in front of him, steady and real. The chaos of his past couldn't pull him under as long as he chose to stand with her. "Derek, I'm done letting you dictate my life," Ethan declared, his voice firm. "Maria and Sophia deserve better than ghosts from my past." "So be it," Derek said with a huff. "You'll see. Life has a way of turning tables. Don't say I didn't warn you when everything falls apart." With that, he turned sharply, leaving the cafe as abruptly as he entered, his shadow lingering as a reminder of what was at stake. Ethan's heart raced, a mix of relief and fear settling into the pit of his stomach. He looked at Maria, searching for reassurance. "I don't want to lose you. You won T. Just be honest with yourself." "That's where we start," Maria said quietly, her eyes shimmering with something more profound. Their connection felt palpable, but uncertainty still buzzed in the air. Ethan stood there, enveloped in the warmth of honesty and the chill of doubt. He realized the path forward was clouded but filled with potential. But with every step, there were risks looming on the horizon. Would he be strong enough to follow through? Would he protect the newfound peace he sought with Maria? As the door swung shut behind Derek, Ethan felt the gravity of his choices. Could he truly embrace the future waiting for him, or would the past pull him back again? The question lingered, a haunting echo, as he knew the answer could change everything. Ethan stood still, the cafe around him bustling with the ordinary sounds of everyday life, but all he could hear was the rush of his heartbeat. The weight of Derek's warning loomed large. He could hardly focus on Maria's presence. She was the only thing tethering him to the present, and yet the shadows of his past felt all-consuming. "Hey," Maria said, softening her voice. "Let us step outside for a moment. I think we need some air." Nodding, Ethan followed her outside. The crisp afternoon air wrapped around them like a balm, lifting some of the heaviness. Maria leaned against a lamppost, her gaze meeting his with unwavering intensity. "Talk to me," she urged, her eyes searching his. Ethan felt his breath catch. "It's just Derek's threats. He knows things I've tried to bury. Things that could hurt Sophia." The name slipped through his lips like a promise he feared he couldn't keep. "He doesn't own you, Ethan," Maria replied, her voice steady. "You're not that man anymore. You're someone who is trying to make a change." He winced, recalling all too vividly the reckless decisions of his past that led him to Derek. "But if I can't escape my past, how can I protect you both? I want to let you get hurt because of me. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for." Maria stepped closer, her hand brushing his arm, sending a ripple of warmth through him. "You can't control what Derek does. You can only decide how you respond. Don't let fear make your decisions." For the first time, Ethan reflected on her words. He was so focused on the shadows that he neglected to see the flicker of hope standing in front of him. "What if my past comes crashing in and then we face it together?" Her reply was firm yet gentle, a lifeline thrown in turbulent seas. "Together." The word hung between them, shifting everything. He remembered the laughter they shared, the stolen moments that blurred time. He realized it was worth fighting for, both her and Sophia. Just as a smile teased his lips, the sudden sound of a car screeching to a halt nearby sliced through the air. They turned in unison, a deep sense of dread coiling in Ethan's stomach. The sight that greeted him confirmed his worst fear. Derek, leaning against a sleek black car, smirked infuriatingly, a shadow cast over the bright day. "Thought you could escape me?" Derek's voice dripped with malice. "You're not out of this yet. Miss my little chats." Ethan's heart sank, knowing that whatever Derek planned was only going to make things worse. "You don't frighten me, Derek. This stops now." Derek chuckled, stepping forward. "Oh, Ethan. You really think you can just wish me away? I have my ways. And I've just begun to stir the pot." He gestured dismissively to Maria. "She may have an idea of how far you'd go to protect her, but she doesn't understand the consequences." Maria's hand gripped Ethan's tighter, grounding him, but he could feel her fear beneath the surface. With every passing moment, Ethan could sense his world tilting again, perhaps toward chaos. But as silent panic threatened to rise, he recalled Maria's words, "Face it together." Ethan squared his shoulders, standing his ground. "Whatever you think you can do, I won't allow it to tear apart what's been built," he declared, his voice stronger now, echoing the love he felt for both the women in his life. "Such bravery." "It's charming, really," Derek sneered. "Just remember, actions have consequences. I can't wait to show you how deep the rabbit hole goes." With that, Derek turned, slipping into the car before speeding away, a dark portent of what lay ahead. Ethan had a choice to make. He turned to Maria, their eyes locking. "I won't let him scare you us. No more running and hiding." Maria nodded, fire igniting in her eyes. "Then let us stand together. Whatever it takes." In that moment, Ethan felt strength course through him, a power that outweighed fear. As they walked back into the cafe, he knew they were only at the beginning of this fight. But a daunting realization lingered: would their united front be enough to withstand what was coming, or would Derek's threats be more sinister than he could imagine? Questions loomed, heavy yet electrifying, as they prepared to face the storm ahead. Inside the cafe, the comforting hum of chatter and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee momentarily dulled the tension. But Ethan felt it simmering beneath the surface, a reminder that Derek's words were more than just idle threats. He stole a glance at Maria, who was now scanning their surroundings, her brow furrowed. He wanted nothing more than to shield her from the chaos that always clung to him. "Let us find a corner," he suggested, leading her to a secluded table near the back. As they sat, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. Derek isn't just messing around. He has a way of finding leverage and he uses it. Maria leaned in closer, her voice low but firm. "Then we find our own leverage. You know him better than anyone. What's his weakness?" Ethan rubbed his temples, the weight of their situation pressing down. In the past, he'd been so knee-deep in his own mess that he'd missed the signs. "Derek is all about control," he said, his thoughts forming. "He likes to feel powerful. His threats are grounded in manipulation. If we can flip that script." Maria's eyes lit up, sparking with ideas. "What if we expose him? Show everyone who he really is? He thrives in the shadows. Taking that away could make him vulnerable." Ethan nodded slowly, her suggestion igniting a flicker of hope. "It's risky. If he catches wind of it, it could endanger you and Sophia." "Then we act quickly," she replied, determination threading through her words. "We can't let fear keep us from taking action. Fighting back might just be what brings Derek down." Her bravery inspired him. He wished he could bottle up this moment, hold it close on the days when doubt gnawed at him. "What if we talk to Sophia? We owe her to give her a say in this. She deserves to know." "I believe in being upfront," she replied, squeezing his hand. "But you're right. She should be part of this. She is stronger than you think." A brief memory of Sophia's laughter in the park washed over him, a reminder of innocence and warmth. His daughter represented everything worth fighting for. "You're right. She is tough." Their conversation was interrupted by the barista, who arrived with their drinks. The momentary distraction reminded Ethan they were still living life, despite Derek's looming threat. He took a sip of his coffee, refocusing. But just then, a familiar face caught his eye across the room. It was Jenna, an old friend from his past who had distanced herself when things turned dark in Ethan's life. Her expression was concerned as she scanned the cafe, locking eyes with him. There was no hiding now. "Maria," he whispered, the air thickening with anxiety. "Jenna's here. What do you want to do?" she asked, her voice steady but with an undertone of urgency. "I need to talk to her," Ethan replied, swallowing hard. "She might know something about Derek, or at least, have some insight." As he stood to approach Jenna, uncertainty crept in. Would his past chase him down again? Would she resent him? The stakes felt higher than ever. Wait, Maria pulled him back. If she's connected to Derek, we should strategize first. We need to be careful. Ethan glanced back toward Jenna, who looked expectant yet hesitant. Time felt suspended, each heartbeat echoing louder in his ears. Okay. Let us just see how this plays out, he replied, heart pounding in his chest. Steeling himself, he took a deep breath. Jenna was walking toward them, and he had to hope she would be the ally he needed, but as the distance closed between them, he couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows of his past were creeping closer, ready to pull him back into the darkness. What secrets would come spilling out when he faced her again? Ethan stood in the cafe, adrenaline pumping through him as Jenna approached. He could almost hear the echoes of their past shared laughter, whispered secrets, and the quiet comfort of trust that had been shaken by his choices. Now, as she neared, those memories mingled with uncertainty, mixing together like oil and water. Ethan, Jenna greeted, a hesitant smile breaking through her concern. It's been a while. Yeah, he replied, his heart racing. It's good to see you. Is everything okay? Jenna glanced between him and Maria, who was watching them closely, interest peeking in her eyes. I've heard some things about you, she admitted, her voice dropping to a murmur. Things about Derek. Ethan felt a jolt at the mention of Derek's name. What do you know? He's been getting involved in some dangerous stuff, she confessed, her eyes flickering with fear. People have been worried. I didn't want to drag you back into that. But you can trust me, he interjected, his voice steady. I need to know what I'm up against. She nodded, searching for the right words. He's got connections, people who follow him like a shadow. If you're in his line of sight, he won't back off easily. Especially if he feels threatened. Ethan glanced at Maria, whose expression mirrored his own mix of determination and uncertainty. We're not going to let him control us anymore, he said, voicing the resolve that was building inside him. What are you planning? Jenna asked, concern knitting her brow. Exposing him, Maria answered, stepping forward. He thrives on manipulation. If we can bring light to his actions, we might just pull the rug out from under him. Jenna's eyes widened, a mixture of admiration and fear flashing across her face. That's risky. He's not just a bully, he's dangerous. I'm aware, Ethan replied firmly. But it's time I stop hiding. A soft hand gripped his arm, and he turned to see Maria's steady gaze. Together, she whispered. That word again. It resonated deep in his core and spurred him on. Okay, Jenna finally said, taking a breath. If you're serious about this, I'll help however I can. I know some people who can dig deeper into Derek's dealings. Thank you. We can't do this alone, Ethan said, the sense of unity filling the space. Suddenly, Sophia burst into the cafe, her little face beaming with joy. Look! I made a new picture. She exclaimed, waving her drawing like a trophy. Ethan's heart squeezed tight at the sight of his daughter's unfiltered joy. In that moment, he knew he had to protect that innocence and happiness, no matter the cost. That's awesome, kiddo. I can't wait to see it, Ethan replied, kneeling down to her level. Sophia bounded over, presenting her masterpiece, another bright sun shining brightly against a background of vivid colors. This is for you, Daddy, so you can be happy. Her trusting eyes filled him with warmth and motivation. He couldn't let fear take that away from her or Maria. He looked back at the adults in the cafe, seeing hope flicker there too. Let us meet tomorrow, Ethan decided, his voice laced with determination. We'll strategize. We can't let Derek intimidate us. Agreed, Jenna said, her demeanor turning resolute. I'll gather everything I can find. And I'll bring a few trusted friends who know how to handle this stuff. What about Sophia? Maria asked, a glint of concern in her eyes. We'll keep her safe. We just need to ensure she doesn't feel the weight of this, Ethan responded, glancing at his daughter once more. As the plans began to solidify, Ethan felt a shift within him. The pieces started falling into place. He was no longer the man hiding from his problems. He was rising up, facing life with the people who mattered most by his side. As they left the cafe, Sophia's laughter ringing bright and sweet, Ethan was filled with an overwhelming sense of hope. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but he felt ready to walk it together with Maria and Sophia. They got into the car, laughter bursting free as they headed home. In the rear view, the cafe faded away, but the embers of change ignited in his heart. He was finally in control of his destiny, and as the sun set beyond the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and crimson, Ethan understood something profound: love, family, and courage. I'll protect them all, no matter the storm that may come. This was his fight, their fight. And they weren't backing down. Now, as we draw this journey to a close, I need you to act. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss exclusive stories straight from the heart. Leave a like now to keep the algorithm fueling this community. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this ending. I want to hear your voice. And please, don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who absolutely need to see this transformation and feel this inspiring journey. This is the moment to show your support.